Welcome back for day 7 of the grade. Today we are finally putting together your first basic color grade. That's for you if you made it this far into this. For a color grade, the main key components of a color grade is your transform node, your other transform node, and your balance, contrast, saturation, white balance, and curves. We're not going to get into curves today, so we're going to take that away. But we'll get into that on a later date. So now you can see everything. So I'm going to tell you what each node does and what's the purpose of it. This is what you load your raw footage in. Your color space transform node is your input color space for your file or for your footage, and then you put in the right color space for your editor. Your exposure node is basically where you're going to do your adjustments to your footage. If it's too dark, too bright, if the midtones are too high, the highlights are too high, if the shadows are too low, those kind of adjustments. Contrast is where you're going to adjust your contrast. You have your pivot point, which you want to set this at 336, and then you can move your contrast wheel up or down depending on what you think your image needs. If you want a more punchy image, you want to move the contrast to the right, but if you want a more flat image, you want to move it to the left. You have your saturation node. We haven't really talked about saturation yet, but we will get into it. The white balance, we talked about that. That's where you set your white balance for your footage. And this is your color space transform out of the DaVinci by Gamma and DaVinci Intermediate to Rec 709 and Gamma 2.4. And then you have your LUT or your look. And this is any corrections you need to make post. So that is your first basic color grade. That's it for day 7 of the grade. Tune in for day 8 where we'll be talking about how to read other still images for inspiration for color. Deuces.